Hello again. Back in February, I said that there was no doubt at all that the next First Minister in Scotland would be a Muslim, and such has proved to be the case. This was a foregone conclusion, although, like the three card trick, two other candidates were presented, and then the three were shuffled around to make it look as though there were a degree of some uncertainty in the final result. There was none. It was a fix. Ireland, Scotland, Britain and London are now all led by men whose ancestry lies in the Indian subcontinent, which frankly strikes me as a bit strange. I do not say that it is bad, mind, just a bit strange. It is a situation which could hardly have been predicted 20 years ago, and yet so used have we become to the mad drive for diversity that we now take it as being quite normal. It is not. It would be very weird if Bangladesh were to have four white British Christians running their country, and we would think that there was something pretty bizarre going on if we observed such a thing. But because this is happening here, nobody likes to say it's a strange situation, even though this is manifestly the case. In the case of Scotland, the new leader is a devout Muslim, which means, of course, that he's not all that keen on homosexuality and similar carrying on, although he has been quite cunning about disguising this fact. He missed the vote on gay marriage, which was held in 2014 in the Scottish Parliament, allegedly because his mosque asked him to abstain. It will be remembered that when Kate Forbes, one of the other contenders for the post of First Minister, let it be known that her religious views led her to disapprove of homosexual marriage, there was an outcry. Nobody cares, though, when a Muslim feels the same way. There have been various little slips which cause one to ask just how British Humza Yousaf actually feels himself to be. Last week, he referred to the government in Westminster as a foreign government. Even bearing in mind that he is a Scottish nationalist, this was a rather alarming thing to hear. Certainly no other Scots nationalist has used such an expression, and coming from a man whose family are not British, it really did make some people raise their eyebrows. I will readily confess that I am a little uneasy to see the British Isles now being run by so many people whose families have no real connection with England, Scotland or Ireland. In the case of the British Prime Minister, we have a man whose parents were born on one continent, his grandparents on another, and he himself was Chancellor of the Exchequer at a time when he was actually registered for taxes in the United States. His wife is not a British citizen and has declared that she's not domiciled in this country but rather in India. Perhaps I'm old-fashioned, but all this makes me unsure whether or not these people have the interests of Britain at heart to quite the same extent that I do. They may do, of course, but then again it may simply be that Britain is a convenient stopping-off place and that they will ultimately retire to India, Pakistan or the United States. The same goes, of course, for the Home Secretary, whose parents were born abroad and whose husband is a wealthy American. There are perhaps a few too many cosmopolitans and global citizens in charge around the British Isles at the moment, for my taste.